What would a hero do after humanity begged for his death? What would he become if time handed him a second chance? Wang Wei once stood on a frozen plain outside Jiangnan City. Snow whipped across his face like tiny knives in the dark. Behind him waited the people he had protected for 5 years. They were not crying for him or begging him to stay. They were watching in silence because his death bought them peace. His power was foresight, the gift everyone called holy. With one vision after another, he had warned cities before disasters struck. He had saved strangers, allies, children, soldiers, and entire districts. That was why the Alliance named him the Prophet of Humanity. But every miracle has a price hiding inside the blessing. His foresight weakened until he could use it only once a year. Then the disaster itself offered humanity a cruel bargain. Kill Wang Wei and the world receives 30 years of peace. At first, the council dismissed it as a monstrous trick. But Chen Mingxuan asked him whether the promise was real. She was his girlfriend then, the woman he still trusted. So Wang Wei looked into the future and told the truth. The bargain would work, and humanity would really survive longer. The next day, Chen Mingxuan repeated his answer before the council. That single sentence turned love into a death sentence. The vote finished almost before Wang Wei understood what was happening. Everyone agreed that the prophet had to die for them. Chen Mingxuan even announced that one objection could cancel the bargain. One voice could have saved the man who saved them all. No one spoke. Not a friend. Not an ally. Not even the people who once called him their hope. Instead, the crowd shouted for him to hurry into the snow. Wang Wei laughed because crying would have felt too generous. 5 years of sacrifice had ended in a public execution. He looked once at Jiangnan City, the home he had guarded. Then he walked forward while the wind swallowed his footprints. After 7 steps, his body scattered like gray dust. The crowd cheered as if a disaster had been defeated. Then Wang Wei woke up screaming inside his old bedroom. His clothes clung to him soaked with sweat and terror. The phone beside him showed July 28, 2055. It was 7 days before the catastrophe began. It was also the day his first power awakened. Outside the window, the city still breathed like nothing was wrong. Cars moved, children played, and morning sunlight touched ordinary streets. Then the cold voice returned inside his head. It gave him the same choice he remembered from his first life. Option 1 was foresight, the power that made him a martyr. Option 2 was safe house, a power he had ignored before. Last time he chose humanity, and humanity chose his grave. This time Wang Wei smiled and chose himself. The moment he chose safe house, a soft glow spread through the apartment. It vanished so gently that anyone else might have doubted it. But Wang Wei felt the change settle into the walls. Everything within 100 square meters became his absolute territory. Nothing could harm him inside that invisible shelter. The effect lasted 3 days, then needed 3 days to recharge. More important, the power could evolve with survival points. That single word evolve made his heart beat harder. In his past life, he had used foresight to save everyone. In this life, he had a fortress that belonged only to him. He activated it immediately and felt the apartment awaken around him. Every corner entered his senses like nerves under his skin. He could sense footsteps, dust, heat movement, and whispers. Even the neighbors through the wall became clear as actors on a stage. The husband and wife next door were arguing over a ridiculous misunderstanding. Wang Wei heard every word and realized the safe house was more than defense. It was eyes, ears, and control inside a private kingdom. Outside that kingdom, he was still just an ordinary man. So he needed food, water, tools, and money before the sky broke. 7 days remained before the end began. The streets outside looked peaceful enough to fool the careless. Old people walked under trees. Children laughed and shops opened as usual. Wang Wei knew most of them would not be ready. He did not warn them. The hero who once carried the world was dead. A survivor had woken in his place. He took a taxi downtown and entered an expensive restaurant. He ordered every dish he had once been too poor to taste. The bill climbed past 20,000 yuan, but he did not blink. Debt meant nothing when the world had only days left. While eating, he maxed out every card and every loan app. Over 300,000 yuan poured into his reach. Then he walked into an Apple store and bought the newest phone. 0 down payment, high interest, long repayment term. The clerk saw a reckless customer, but Wang Wei saw free supplies. He returned home after dark with calm footsteps and a colder mind. The safe house greeted him the instant he crossed the door. That silent control filled his body like warm iron. Through the wall, the neighbor couple started arguing again. The wife mentioned a certain Mr. Wang during her teasing. The husband snapped and stormed toward Wang Wei's door. He pounded on it furious and trembling. Wang Wei opened calmly and invited him inside instead. The man's foot reached the threshold, then froze in midair. Something invisible warned him not to enter. 3 seconds later, he backed away with fear in his eyes. Wang Wei watched him leave and understood one important thing. Some people were already awakening before the disaster officially arrived. If that was true, the countdown had become even more dangerous. So Wang Wei opened his phone and started buying survival itself. His memory of the first 3 months was sharper than any manual. Razor winds would come first, then deadly cold and red rain, lightning storms. Dust storms and disasters would stack one after another. Even with his old warnings, a third of humanity had died. This time he spent everything on quality instead of charity. Imported food water filters, generators, medicine, and winter gear filled his carts. Delivery promised to arrive within 3 days, which was enough. The next morning his boss called and screamed about his absence. Wang Wei simply quit over the phone and ended the call. Why work for a company that would vanish in a week? Then Chen Mingxuan flooded his phone with angry messages. She wanted breakfast delivered for herself and her friend. In the old life, those messages would have sent him running. For 3 years he bought her meals, gifts, milk, tea, and holidays. She never accepted him clearly, but never let him go either. She kept him like a backup dog on a leash. Only after he became the famous prophet did she become his girlfriend. And when humanity wanted a sacrifice, she exposed the truth that killed him. Wang Wei deleted her contact without hesitation. She called from a saved backup number, proving what he had always been. Backup number 3. Her soft voice tried to hook guilt into his chest, but Wang Wei answered with her full name and cut the leash. Her breakfast had nothing to do with him anymore. He hung up before she could perform another helpless act. The silence afterward felt cleaner than any apology. 6 days remained. He grabbed his documents and property papers and left the apartment. His next stop was the largest Mercedes dealership in the Eastern District. He walked past cheaper models and placed his hand on a black S-Class. The young salesman looked at his clothes and tried to redirect him. Wang Wei ignored the insult and sat behind the wheel. Leather screens and polished silence wrapped around him like revenge. He asked about the zero down payment plan with a calm face. The salesman hesitated because poor men were not supposed to ask that. Then Wang Wei placed his deed identity papers and bank card on the desk. The manager appeared almost instantly with coffee and a shining smile. Paperwork moved faster once the apartment deed touched the table. Wang Wei signed every page without planning to pay even once. The dealership wanted interest, and he wanted the car. Both sides smiled for different reasons. 2 hours later, he drove out in a new Mercedes. The black paint flashed under the sun like a warning. People stared at him on the street, and he let them. Next, he went to the bank and mortgaged the apartment. Online loans had already damaged its value, but he did not care. The bank promised cash within 3 working days. To Wang Wei, every borrowed yuan was a weapon against the coming world. He left the bank richer, colder, and almost entertained. Then fate delivered 3 familiar faces across the street. Chen Mingxuan stood with Lin Nan and Chu Lian near a restaurant. They saw the Mercedes key before they understood the man holding it. Lin Nan mocked him first, asking if he would treat Chen Mingxuan to lunch. Her voice still carried the old habit of looking down on him. Wang Wei almost crushed her pride on the spot. Then he decided slow revenge would taste better. He said he was busy and invited Chen Mingxuan to his place later. Lin Nan laughed as if such a thing was impossible. Wang Wei pressed the car key, and the Mercedes answered with a sharp beep. All 3 women froze. Chulian searched the model and saw the price on her phone. Over 1,500,000 yuan stood between their old contempt and his new image. Chen Mingxuan's practiced smile went blank. Wang Wei lowered the window and spoke lightly before driving away. If Chen Mingxuan was busy, perhaps Lin Nan could message him instead. The car rolled off, leaving jealousy burning behind it. Next, he found a pawn shop in the old district. Brother Lei heavy gold chain and heavy eyes came from the back room. Wang Wei offered the apartment deed and the Mercedes registration for a 1-month pawn. The house was already mortgaged, but the total value still tempted the shark. 2 million yuan changed hands under brutal daily interest. Brother Lei thought he had found a fool with expensive toys. Wang Wei knew there would be no collection day. When he returned to the car, Lin Nan's message had already arrived. She was free that night. Money had opened a door that devotion never could. Wang Wei bought fresh food, meat, vegetables, seasonings, wine, and drinks. He remembered how hunger erased law during the first disaster season. No deliveries, no safe roads, no mercy. Anyone who went out unprepared often failed to return. At 4 in the afternoon, Lin Nan appeared at his door. Makeup, perfume, a fitted dress, and an apology smile came with her. She called him Brother Wang as if she had always respected him. Her eyes studied the apartment, then landed on the Mercedes key. The imported steak and wine confirmed the story she wanted to believe. Then she began selling out Chen Mingxuan with astonishing speed. She described other rich men's secret dates and jokes about Wang Wei's gifts. Friendship cracked the moment she smelled money. Wang Wei listened because none of it surprised him. He unlocked the newest phone where she could see the balance notice. 2 million yuan glowed on the screen like bait. Lin Nan's breathing changed. She moved closer, praised him, and spoke as if affection had awakened overnight. Wang Wei saw through every word and smiled anyway. He let her believe she was stepping into a rich man's future. Later, he took her shopping through luxury stores. He spent over 100,000 yuan and bought nothing for her. She carried every bag without complaint because she thought service was investment. She never noticed the future she wanted no longer existed. That evening, Chen Mingxuan finally came to inspect the prize herself. Lin Nan heard Chen Mingxuan's name and hesitated near the door. For a breath, she understood how ugly the scene would look. Then greed defeated caution. She stayed and sharpened her smile like a blade. When Chen Mingxuan arrived, she had already heard enough through the door. Her nails dug into her palms, but she refused to leave. If Lin Nan was inside, the money must be real. Why should her friend steal the man she had kept on standby for years? Chen Mingxuan walked in wearing beauty-like armor. Lin Nan came out messy and confident, acting as if she owned the room. Every casual word she spoke landed on Chen Mingxuan's pride. Chen Mingxuan forced sweetness back onto her face. She took Wang Wei's other arm and pretended nothing had broken. Wang Wei stood between them and watched the competition bloom. In his past life, even the prophet had never been fought over like this. Now borrowed money made him a treasure. He took them to a small noodle shop instead of a grand restaurant. The owner stared because Wang Wei had never brought women before. He ordered 2 bowls of soybean paste noodles for them. Lin Nan poured tea while Chen Mingxuan wiped the table. Wang Wei ate in peace while their pride wrestled beside him. Neither woman cared about the noodles. They cared about being chosen. After dinner, both followed him home and started cleaning his living room. Neither wanted to leave first. Wang Wei realized he could turn their rivalry into another resource. He called Lin Nan into the bedroom for a private talk. He asked for her identity card and had her hold it for photos. She was confused, embarrassed, and obedient. Then he sent her out and called Chen Mingxuan in. He told Chen Mingxuan that Lin Nan had chased him first. He claimed the person he cared about was still her. That lie softened her defenses exactly as expected. When he asked for her identity card, she hesitated. Then he mentioned that Lin Nan had not hesitated. Jealousy answered faster than logic. She agreed. By the time both women left, Wang Wei's smile had vanished. He opened more than a dozen loan apps, photos, identity details, and their own greed became useful tools. By the end of the night, he had borrowed over 300,000 yuan. Every resource had to be used before the old world died. Then he remembered Chu Lian, the third woman in their circle. In the past life, she and Lin Nan encouraged Chen Mingxuan to test him. Their little test became the confession that doomed him. He did not forget. Late that night, the neighbor's noise annoyed him through the wall. So Wang Wei invited Chen Mingxuan back under the excuse of a morning ride. She turned her taxi around immediately for the chance to arrive in luxury. 3 years of sincerity failed but one. Mercedes brought her back at midnight. The next morning, Wang Wei drove Chen Mingxuan to work during rush hour. He chose the busiest moment so every co-worker could see. Lin Nan and Chu Lian were at the entrance when the Mercedes stopped. Chen Mingxuan stepped out holding his arm like a victorious queen. Lin Nan's face darkened immediately. Wang Wei made the wound deeper with a casual sentence. He said Chen Mingxuan had returned after Lin Nan left. Jealousy exploded silently between the two women. Chu Lian stared as if reality had changed overnight. Before leaving, Wang Wei invited them all to gather sometime. That promise was not kindness, it was bait. Later, Zhao Lai messaged him from the old company. In the previous timeline, Zhao Lai awakened a S lightning power. He ranked near the top of the Alliance power list. Wang Wei had saved his life more than once. Yet Zhao Lai had led the crowd that told him to die in the snow. Wang Wei considered dealing with him early. Then he remembered that outside the safe house he remained ordinary. Getting arrested before the catastrophe would be foolish. So he went to the office only to sign his resignation papers. The receptionist avoided his eyes. Co-workers whispered and smirked behind his back. Human Resources docked his pay and threatened responsibility for leaving. 3 years of loyalty ended with stolen wages and cold faces. Zhao Lai acted concerned in the hallway. Wang Wei knew that smile could rot the moment his back turned. At noon, Chu Lian messaged him to fix the conflict between her friends. She claimed she came for peace. Wang Wei knew she came for curiosity. He chose an expensive Western restaurant with golden menu letters. Chu Lian ordered the costliest items, pretending to punish him for her friends. Wang Wei added wine and watched her forget her mission. She photographed every dish and posted a polished little life ritual online. Then he praised her taste and told her she was different from the others. That touched the insecurity she hid behind her clean image. After lunch, she followed him shopping and ignored both angry friends. He spent over 100,000 yuan again, still buying nothing for her. She did not complain because rich attention felt close enough to success. At his apartment, her resistance melted before the fantasy she had built. When she asked why a rich man lived in a small place, Wang Wei paused. She was right. The safe house deserved more space. He asked for her identity card afterward and repeated the same routine. By evening, loan apps had squeezed money from Chu Lian too. No free lunch existed in Wang Wei's new world. After she left, he sensed the neighbor couple through the wall again. The husband begged his wife to stay home because outside felt wrong. Wang Wei understood that old Zhang was awakening danger perception. That meant the disaster was close enough for instincts to scream. The next morning, Wang Wei moved faster. He walked into a real estate agency and demanded a large, furnished apartment. It had to be ready today. The agent showed him a 4-bedroom home in Jinshui, Tiandi, 178 square meters, modern furniture, and immediate keys. Wang Wei offered a deposit and promised a contract in 1 month. If he broke the deal, the penalty would be enormous. The owner agreed quickly because greed loves paperwork. Wang Wei knew money would be worthless in 3 days. That same day, his online supplies arrived in waves. Truffle cans, Wagyu beef, caviar, Burgundy wine, and rice filled the trucks. Solar panels, water purifiers, medicine generators, and winter suits followed. Everything he needed for the first 3 months stacked into boxes. Old Zhang appeared while the loading was underway, his eyes fixed on the supplies with frightened suspicion. He asked whether Wang Wei knew something. Wang Wei played dumb because he would not become anyone's prophet again. After Wang Wei left, old Zhang's danger perception fully awakened. The voice in his head warned him that global disaster was coming. He rushed home desperate to buy supplies and find Wang Wei, but Wang Wei had already moved his fortress. At the new apartment, Wang Wei barely sat down before Fat Li called. The loan shark wanted his 2 million yuan back without interest. He had awakened too, and fear had replaced greed. A mysterious voice had warned him of the coming disaster. Now he wanted money to build a fortress of his own. Wang Wei called him crazy, hung up, blocked him, and mocked him by message. Then he activated the safe house around the new apartment. 100 square meters of absolute safety spread out like invisible glass. Back at the old place, Chen Mingxuan, Lin Nan, and Chu Lian arrived together. They glared at one another in the hallway, but Wang Wei was gone. He lay on his new sofa eating steak and drinking wine. 2 days remained. Online strange signs began leaking through the cracks. A martial arts streamer broke a steel wrench with his bare hands. He punched through an iron pot on camera before his account disappeared. The authorities were already suppressing what they could not explain. That night, an emergency broadcast interrupted regular television. The host warned of possible extreme weather and geological events. People were told to stock 2 weeks of food and stay indoors. The announcement stayed vague and refused to say apocalypse. But vague warnings only created panic without preparation. Supermarkets flooded instantly. 2 days was not enough to prepare a civilization. Wang Wei stood by the window as Jiangnan City glowed below. The city looked beautiful in the way a candle looks beautiful before it dies. Far away, the sky darkened into an unnatural gray. He raised his glass without smiling. The new world was already walking toward the door, and almost everyone still thought tomorrow would be ordinary. The next morning, his phone showed dozens of missed calls. Chen Mingxuan, Lin Nan, Chu Lian, and Fat Li had all hunted for him. Wang Wei created a group chat and named it Angel Investor Main Group. Then he started a video call with all 4 parasites at once. The 3 women looked sleepless, furious, and frightened. Fat Li joined with a face full of debt and suspicion. Wang Wei yawned and asked why everyone was searching for him. The truth had reached them overnight. The car was financed, the house was mortgaged, and the cash came from loans. Loan platforms had started calling the women because their details were used. Wang Wei admitted it without flinching. He reminded them that illegal loans did not need to be repaid. Then he pointed at Fat Li and said the same rule applied to him. Fat Li threatened him, but Wang Wei invited him to try. Chen Mingxuan demanded repayment for everything she thought she lost. Wang Wei reminded her of the money she had drained over 3 years. Lin Nan and Chu Lian shouted too. He treated their outrage like noise from another apartment. Then he sent the identity card photos into the group. Their screams proved the leverage worked. Fat Li quietly saved the images showing exactly what kind of man he was. Wang Wei suggested they call the police if they wanted justice. The women clung to that idea because they had no better weapon. But Fat Li could not call the police on his own illegal business. After they left the call, Wang Wei and Fat Li faced each other alone. Fat Li asked if he feared being arrested. Wang Wei answered that the world was ending, so fear had no use. Fat Li finally realized Wang Wei believed the disaster more than anyone. That night, old Zhang moved into the apartment across the hall. He had followed the feeling of safety straight to Wang Wei's building. He told his wife this was the only place in the city that felt safe. Wang Wei watched through the peephole and did not open the door. The next morning was bright enough to deceive fools. Wang Wei knew the first disaster would strike around 1 in the afternoon. By noon, the sky turned reddish-yellow without clouds. People stopped to take pictures, laughing at the strange light. A streamer called Farmer Spring Water is a bit salty went live outside. Emergency alarms rang across major cities. Messages ordered everyone to go home and stay indoors. The streamer hesitated for only a few seconds. Then he chose traffic over survival. He told viewers he would test the strange weather personally. Gifts filled the screen while Wang Wei watched from safety. The streamer said the wind seemed weak. He never finished the sentence. A vein rose on his neck. His head fell and the live stream cut to black. Recordings spread before censors could bury them. Jiangnan City emptied by evening. The apocalypse had finally shown its first blade. People shared photos of wounds that appeared from nowhere. Surveillance showed animals outside the city sliced apart by invisible force. The first day was not even the worst one. Then the familiar voice rang inside Wang Wei's head. He had survived the first day and gained 1 safety point. The safe house offered an upgrade. 1 point could expand the zone to 200 square meters. It could also stretch the duration to 4 days. Wang Wei upgraded immediately. The invisible territory swelled through his home like a silent tide. His heart raced because the safe house had no fixed ceiling. If survival earned points, then safety could keep growing. The next morning, the sky remained yellow and sickly. Wind blades attacked exposed living things, but spared those behind walls or vehicles. Wang Wei knew the rule from his past life. He did not share it. Chen Mingxuan had discovered his stockpiled supplies and begged for help. He told her to come get them herself, knowing the street could cut her apart. She demanded delivery, then threatened the police when he refused. Next, she posted pictures of his supplies online. Former co-workers, classmates, neighbors, and strangers suddenly remembered his name. The neighborhood group tagged him without mercy. Wang Wei responded with a slow video tour of his apartment. Steaks, freezers, wine generators, purifiers, medicine, and cold gear filled the frame. He captioned it like a casual joke about stocking up a little. People begged to buy supplies. He answered each request with the same calm refusal. Only for viewing, not for sale. Zhao Lai messaged him about friendship. Wang Wei reminded him that backstabbers did not get friendship discounts. Zhao Lai warned him that showing off would make enemies. Inside the safe house, enemies sounded almost funny. Then the government announced what it had learned. The wind blades only harmed exposed living things for now. Stay indoors or inside vehicles and official supplies would be distributed. The crowd turned on Wang Wei again. They called him a clown for hoarding food before free supplies arrived. They said the police would handle him soon. The group chat laughed at his loans, his car, and his so-called panic. Wang Wei read every insult without anger. They thought the rule would last. He knew it would fail after 3 days. After that, wind blades would slice through walls, cars, and confidence. The first calm was only a trap. Official supplies might reach people once or twice. Then distribution lines would collapse under the next stage. Wang Wei posted his breakfast just to pour oil on the fire. The comments grew vicious while he ate slowly. Companies announced remote work, and platforms removed the worst videos. The authorities wanted calm, but calm would only delay terror. With nothing urgent left, Wang Wei played a mobile game called Brave Alliance. Everyone trapped at home seemed to be doing the same thing. The player count exploded overnight, like panic hiding under entertainment. Then the neighborhood committee collected information for supply distribution. Wang Wei filled it out because free supplies were still resources. Soon after, Danqing police station called. Chen Mingxuan, Linnan, and Chu Lian had filed a joint report. Fraud threats and spreading indecent material were the accusations. The officer ordered him to appear within 24 hours. Wang Wei lied that he was out of town and would come the day after tomorrow. The officer agreed to a morning appointment. Wang Wei hung up because by then nobody would be traveling anywhere. Then the doorbell rang. Old Zhang stood outside holding vegetables and fruit like a peace offering. He tried to act neighborly while fishing for information. Wang Wei accepted the bag but gave him nothing useful. Through the safe house, he sensed old Zhang returning home shaking. Old Zhang told his wife that being near Wang Wei felt like total safety. His danger perception was pointing directly at the safe house. Meanwhile, the angel investor group exploded with celebration. The 3 women believed the police call had finally trapped him. Insults filled the screen. Wang Wei blocked their direct messages and posted another photo. Then another. Then another. Their insults stopped as if someone cut the power. He warned them that every new insult would send more photos to his contacts. Silence answered him. Fat Li popped up and offered money for each picture. Wang Wei told him he might think about it. Privately, Fat Li offered to erase the debt if Wang Wei shared disaster information. Wang Wei demanded 2 million more before even considering a conversation. Fat Li cursed because he had met a debtor who frightened even him. Outside, the sky darkened and foreign news confirmed the truth. Floods on distant coasts. Snow in strange places, frost near the equator. The disaster was not local, it was global. At midnight, Wang Wei survived the second day and gained another safety point. He needed 2 points for the next upgrade. One more day would be enough. Then an unknown number called his phone. The caller introduced himself as Du Wei from the National Security Agency. Wang Wei recognized the name from the previous timeline. Du Wei had been a key leader in the future human alliance. He knew about the loans, the supplies, and the suspicious timing. He asked whether Wang Wei had awakened an ability. Wang Wei lied and said he was only lucky. Du Wei invited him to join the Human Awakener Alliance anyway. Those words stabbed through the memory of the snowy plain. The same grand cause had once dressed his murder as duty. Du Wei spoke about hundreds of millions of lives and the bigger picture. Wang Wei heard the old chant of sacrifice hidden beneath polite language. He answered coldly that he wished to help humanity. Then he insisted he knew nothing useful. Du Wei let the silence stretch before ending the call. Wang Wei stood by the window and watched city lights still burning. He knew those lights would go dark one by one. Whoever wanted to save the world could try. He was finished being the world's shield. The third day of disaster arrived under the same yellow sky. People discovered they could walk outside if fully covered. Hazmat suits, quarantine gear, raincoats, and helmets filled the streets. Someone live-streamed a covered hand into the wind and survived. That was enough to make the city foolish again. Official supplies arrived in small bags of vegetables. The portions were tiny, but relief made people arrogant. My old neighborhood group started laughing at Wang Wei again. They mocked the man who borrowed money to hoard food. They mocked the zero-down car, the loans, and the stocked apartment. Jalai was the loudest voice in the crowd. He claimed Wang Wei's food would rot before anyone needed it. Chenming, Xuanlin Nan, and Chulian joined in too. Wang Wei answered with a few more carefully chosen photos. That bought silence for a while. Then he checked social media and found himself trending at number 1. Someone had exposed his name-building address, loans, and supplies. His new neighborhood group discovered he lived on the 4th floor of Building 1. Residents below gathered with free vegetables and live-streamed the scene. They waved at cameras as if they had defeated the apocalypse. Every face carried the same smug message. See, it was nothing. Wang Wei watched from above with something close to pity. They could laugh today. Tomorrow would collect the bill. He made a post called Safe House Diary Day 3. He wrote that he felt cyberbullied but completely calm. He described milk and bread for breakfast and steak with red wine for lunch. He added that the sky remained red-yellow and the wind was getting stronger. Night was coming. The comments exploded again with mockery. People told him to wake up and collect free vegetables. But inside the National Emergency Command Center, Du Wei stared at that post. Wind getting stronger. Night is coming. He repeated the words and silenced an assistant who dismissed them. Du Wei suspected Wang Wei truly knew something. Wang Wei did know, and he had no intention of turning knowledge into another noose. By morning, copycat bloggers were profiting from his warning. That annoyed him more than their insults. Wang Wei made his own account to reclaim the traffic. He filmed the supplies, the cans, the rice, the wine, and the gear. Then he posted himself as the man who mortgaged his home and stockpiled with loans. If people wanted an end-of-the-world record, they could follow the original. He ate bread, watched television, and waited for midnight. The voice returned after the third day. He gained another safety point. Now he had enough for the next upgrade. With one command, the safe house expanded to 300 square meters. Its duration stretched to 5 days while the cooldown stayed 3 days. The next upgrade would require 4 points. Wang Wei slept peacefully because safety had grown again. Day 4 opened with more people outside than before. Cars moved, neighbors chatted, and the streets almost pretended to be normal. But the trees swayed harder than they had yesterday. The wind was gathering strength behind its mask. Today was the last safe-looking day. Tomorrow, walls and clothes would no longer matter. After breakfast, Wang Wei saw his follower count surge past 300,000. The comments were almost entirely insults. People called him a hoarder, a fraud, a lunatic, and a clown. He pressed start live broadcast anyway. The camera faced the mountain of supplies behind him. For a few seconds, no one came. Then viewers poured in by the thousands. They came to laugh at the stockpiling fool. Wang Wei sat with coffee and let the comments build their own fire. 5 minutes passed, then 10, then 15. The viewer count climbed past 100,000. He finally spoke and told them the real end would come tomorrow. The chat became a storm of jokes and report threats. He explained that wind blades would grow stronger and cut people apart. Most viewers mocked him harder. Some warned that spreading panic could send him to jail. Wang Wei said belief was their choice. Someone asked why he was live streaming at all. He answered honestly that he wanted money. He had high-interest loans to pay after all. The audience thought he might sell supplies cheaply. Wang Wei said maybe he would share if they were still alive tomorrow. That phrase enraged them more than any insult could. The stream hit 1 million viewers. He walked through the apartment and showed everything again. Rice flour cans, wine generator medicine, suits and purified water. Some viewers faltered for the first time. The room looked less like a joke and more like a bunker. Wang Wei ended the stream by telling survivors to leave him a message tomorrow. He closed the broadcast while the phone drowned in unread comments. Across the internet, people reported his account in waves, but nothing was removed. The silence from the platform frightened people more than the stream itself. Usually, mass reports buried controversial content within minutes. This time, every clip stayed up. Edits, replays, screenshots, and full recordings spread untouched. Some users wondered if the warning might be true. Others insisted the platform was only too busy to review complaints. Either way, Wang Wei became the hottest topic online. He did not believe the crowd would believe him. He wanted the opposite. If they saw his warning as a stunt, their mockery would taste better later. Fat Li, also called Li Pengzi by some contacts, messaged him privately. He asked if something would really happen tomorrow. Wang Wei replied that the whole thing was fake and only a stunt for debt money. Fat Li did not accept the lie. He admitted that he had awakened an ability. Wang Wei asked what kind. Fat Li answered that he had partial physical enhancement. That sounded useful enough to interest him, so Wang Wei asked whether the Alliance had contacted him. Fat Li said yes, but they rejected him. Wang Wei frowned because the Alliance usually collected awakened people quickly. Even ordinary early powers had value during the first stage of disaster. Then he asked which body part had been enhanced. Fat Li's answer made Wang Wei put down the phone in speechless exhaustion. No wonder the Alliance did not want him. The power was too ridiculous to help anyone survive the streets. Fat Li kept urging him to save the world and become famous. Wang Wei sneered at the idea. He had already saved the world once. The world repaid him with snow cheers and execution. He ignored Fat Li and checked the angel investor group. The 3 women had gone quiet because his photos still frightened them. They had agreed not to provoke him until the police caught him. That caution almost amused him. Just after midnight, another safety point arrived. But the next upgrade required 4 points, so he had to wait. 300 square meters was enough for now. He wondered whether the safe house could someday cover the world. Then he dismissed the thought as impossible. 100 square meters at a time would never protect a planet fast enough. By morning, he washed, dressed, and stood at the window. According to his memories, the indiscriminate attack would begin at 10. Outside, residents wandered in full protective gear. Cars moved through the roads sparse but confident. The wind suddenly stopped. Branches froze mid-sway as if the world held its breath. People smiled and asked whether the danger had passed. The resident chat filled with jokes about Wang Wei's failed prophecy. He checked the time, 9:57 in the morning. Wang Wei started his live broadcast again at 9:57. Within 1 minute, more than 10,000 viewers flooded in. The comments arrived like a wall of laughter. They asked where the legendary wind blades had gone. They said the scammer had earned enough tips and canceled the apocalypse. Some joked that fear was just good business. Others complained that they had bought instant noodles because of him. Wang Wei watched without speaking. Less than 2 minutes remained. Online. The top trend declared that Wang Wei's prediction had failed. Popular bloggers rushed to harvest traffic from the supposed exposure. Outdoor streamers appeared across the city in raincoats and protective suits. They posed in squares, sidewalks, and empty roads to mock him live. One of them was a small streamer named Atao Ventures. He stood in a city square wearing a transparent raincoat. Behind him, pedestrians moved as if the apocalypse had become a street show. Atao pointed his camera at the yellow sky and laughed. He asked viewers where the windblade was hiding. His chat exploded with praise. People called him brave for exposing fake panic. His usual small audience grew into thousands, then more. The traffic made him grin so wide he forgot why fear existed. He promised to stay outside until 10 and prove Wang Wei wrong. Then someone told him Wang Wei was also live. Atao's eyes brightened with the hunger of a man seeing free fame. He asked whether he should connect with the so-called prophet. His viewers begged him to do it. They wanted to watch the scam collapse face to face. Atao sent the connection request with nervous excitement. To his shock, Wang Wei accepted immediately. The screen split in two. On one side stood Atao in the square under the dead yellow sky. On the other side sat Wang Wei in his apartment before mountains of supplies. Atao laughed first and greeted him like a criminal caught in daylight. He asked where the wind blades had gone. Wang Wei did not answer right away. He only glanced at the corner of the screen where the time kept crawling. The comments multiplied so fast they blurred into white noise. Some shouted for Wang Wei to apologize. Some told Atao to step farther into the open. Atao obeyed because applause can be louder than instinct. He spun the camera toward the square and mocked the empty air. Wang Wei remained still. His eyes held no panic and no need to convince anyone. 9:58 slid toward 9:59. The branches outside still did not move. The city mistook silence for safety. Wang Wei knew silence was only the blade drawing breath. Atao grinned into the camera. And Wang Wei waited because truth never needed to argue.